Hello, and thanks for catching me here on the segment 2 for January 7th. My name is Philip Brandt, and I'm the revoked civil servant. But this is segment 2 now. And now for those of you joining us, you may want to take time to go back and catch up on some of the previous chronological videos or updates at your convenience. But in this segment 2, previously we discussed the article and the implications behind the timing of the federal indictments for the illegal dumping there in Richland County. Major article. Now, you can see behind me, it's already dark outside. It took a while to upload that video. Anyway, so in the first segment, I linked to that state newspaper article. I will try to, in this segment, in the information section, I will link to the rest of these other articles too that I kind of mentioned in the first one. But it was Palantir is said to be hiring salespeople. One article. Pentagon seeks a list of ethical principles. Another article. And Trump is sending out today instructions for the Pentagon to curb some of their information they're being made public. There's more to it behind that. SCANA CEO Addison retires as part of the coordination with Dominion Energy taking over here in South Carolina. And the last one on the list was Bayer's Monsanto is going after Wells Fargo. In this second segment, it's already been 2 minutes now. I'm trying to keep these as short as possible. Not only for the upload time, but I know your time's valuable too. So here we go. The two I'm going to focus on is the SCANA CEO timing and the Monsanto sues Wells Fargo. So in this first one, just taking this a second. Here we go. This is by Avery Wilkes. Now, this was on January 2nd, around 9:36 a.m. And this article goes into, like it says, CEO retires and can collect millions in severance as part of the Dominion buyout. For those of you here in South Carolina and have been following me and going back in some of the history, not only looking at your own electric bill on top of that, you know what a big fiasco this has been there in Fairfield County, and there's much more behind the scenes as to what's really going on. But so here you go. This article says that how the CEO is going to possibly collect millions of dollars in his golden parachute as a part of the Dominion Energy buyout agreement. Now, of course, here comes people in the state house saying, hey, we're going to pass these laws, we're going to do certain things to mitigate as a part of certain settlements where these CEOs can't collect their severance $1 million parachutes due to the fallout and the corruption involved there in Fairfield County. And so Avery Wilkes does a pretty good job. Like I say, never met him. But when I link to these articles, I want you to think about the timing of when they come out, but also the history. because they treat the readers as $1, a day late and $1 short. The information and data flow that's coming out of really what's happening. And that affects not only, the workers of Dominion, Santee, SCENG, and SCANA, all the co-ops, and then ratepayers and the people with pensions. So in this, it says, today as Dominion completes its takeover of SCANA, Addison, which was the CEO, is on the way out. Now he stepped up after I think Marsh stepped down. And Dominion announced his retirement and replacement. Dominion Chief Information Officer Rodney Blevins. To me, as a data analyst, that is a huge red flag right there. Huge red flag. Because of what both Dominion knew before, during, and now after all of these negotiations going on. Said he could receive, something like almost $10 million in compensation tied to his departure. When you stand there and think about that, Dominion is offering him this, but you've got to also go back and look at what Dominion is on the hook for in other states. West Virginia, North Carolina, and the issues they're having there. Plus, they're building another $150 million building in downtown Richmond. Something is just not right. Oh. It says about $3.8 million of that is deferred pay Addison has already earned. I mean, come on. Really? Now remember, a lot of those bonuses that were paid, were paid actually by Santee Cooper. And who owns that? Ta-da. It's a state entity. Most all of this and what's occurring it's similar to what David Pascoe, Solicitor David Pascoe, was allowed to basically bring to bear in Probegate, or the corruption probe there, and that's been ongoing now for years and years and years. I mean, it's just it is a case study for the Navy War College. A case study. And it's and they're also saying, talking about the filings that they have to do for the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC. Because that has to go back with Fitch and Moody's and all of these rating agencies with the underlying bonds and stocks. I mean, that has ramifications all the way down from what I've been reading down into Jacksonville, northern Florida, with who is, invested in some of the other Dominion and other related nuclear power construction. It's a mess. And it's that way by design to take taxpayers and ratepayers to the cleaners. And I dare say how the information is being manipulated. Some of the people had no clue of really how they were being played. Does that make them innocent? Nope. You know. So let's look at that on the other foot. Let's you know, that's one hand. Let's look over here. My situation. That is how compartmentalized information is used. Good and bad. Good and bad. And so when you start trying to, hey, something's wrong here, hey, we don't care, you're out. They coordinate it with the new people coming in, and they never tell the new people. It's like, hey, you know, and then if new people start asking questions, you're out. So did our new captain realize what he was walking into, and what type of turnover did he get there at Spayborg Atlantic? So it's kind of like a judge with respect to what's happening with Dominion, Santee, and SCANA. Because here he is in the middle, and that is going to have huge implications on how he progresses up over his career in a judicial circuit or anywhere else, up through the judicial branch chain of command. And most judges realize that. I mean, that's how they can use the timing of hearings to just spread it out. It's just like this, I think the one on the previous one, their next hearing's not till March. Really? Let's get it on. Let's find out what's going on. Well, not so fast. Okay. So it says right here, the money, you know, the $10 million will be paid by Dominion shareholders. Okay. Well, do Dominion shareholders and ratepayers in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia know that? No way. So here they are, they're going to go back into other states and they're going to raise the rates. They'll come back here in South Carolina and do the same thing. You know? Out of sight, out of mind. And then what happens to the ratepayers? Oh, they're raising rates again. You know, you'll get mad for about a week and forget about it. Talk about theft. It's no different than, you know, Egypt's lost power and how it was negotiated, you know, and the theft that happened between those, between Egypt and Israel, and how those funds were diverted, you know. I mean, unbelievable, really, you know. I mean, this is no different than what happened down with Chavez in Venezuela with Petrobras or whatever their national oil company is, you know. I mean, they just sat there and they just diverted it right offshore. Is this as blatant? No. But it's designed to be this way. And that's what I'm telling you. When you think about how your own workplace environment and that information flow, what your manager or CEO does not do, probably even unaware of, Then when they're questioned, get rid of that guy or girl. He makes me look bad, or she makes me look bad. Then the corporate lawyer's like, well, what do you mean? I didn't know anything about this illegal dumping. I don't want her, questioning the nachos I'm giving my customers, in some restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but until that starts happening, nothing's ever going to get better. So that's some of the thought process I wanted to offer you behind this article. Timing of it, okay? The data that's been manipulated to lead up to this, okay? I mean, this has been known now really over a year or more. I mean, when you think about it, a lot longer than that. I mean, how long is Dominion Midland Pipeline in South Carolina? They use certain information to get leverage to even have approval for the easement. And that's just the way it is. DEC had to approve the easements. Okay. DEC knew what was going on way before this article came out. Okay. It's kind of like reading tea leaves. Using history. So I'll link to this article for you to, because you may be in a different state. You may be in North Carolina. You may be in Virginia. You may be in West Virginia. Oh, my Lord. And you thought you had problems with, coal ash pits. You really don't know yet. So, next article. Is going back. Lights once again. One of my previous updates about Monsanto's Roundup weed killer and that verdict coming out. Well, there's certain dominoes that take effect. Okay. And so this article, as I kind of alluded to in the previous segment update today, is kind of like another pebble, or another rock in that load of gravel, weighing that truck down. It says Monsanto is suing Wells Fargo and citizens over default threats. Okay. Now, the reason I allude to this or bring this to your attention, they could do the same thing to me for even mentioning this article. They could do the same thing to me. This one is by Christian Berthelsen. Christian Berthelsen. December 31st of 2018, 3:30 in the afternoon. I think this was either on Bloomberg or CNBC, I think. But Monsanto, the U.S. agribusiness giant acquired by Bayer AG this year, said in a court filing Monday that lenders who hold the leases on some of the company planes may try to claim the takeover placed the contracts in default, even though all payments are current. Well, as a data analyst, as someone who, when you monitor, traffic on a network, and you start following certain data, whether it be the Securities and Exchange Commission, whether it be the NASDAQ, whether it be, Goldman Sachs, anything, you got to understand. Now, why would a German company step in and buy out Monsanto when they have such a huge liability in the legal pipeline, with all these cases coming out saying, hey, we got a problem with Roundup. Hey, we got a problem with Roundup. Hey, we got a problem with Roundup. There's certain dynamics, once again, in the background. It kind of reminds me of that movie with Matthew McConaughey, the Dallas Buyers Club, where it kind of showed how, Big Pharma was in bed with, the, not the FCC, but, the FDA about approving these drug trials. And here Matthew McConaughey, he goes over to Mexico and gets these supplements. It didn't cure AIDS, but it let's say repressed the symptoms to where it allowed the patients to live longer than the drug that was being pushed by the FDA and the pharma business. The same dynamic is happening right here. Right here. Now, one part of you says, well, Chris, that's great. I'll wait till the movie comes out. Okay, that's fine too. But how does that affect your pension between now and the time the movie comes out? What's it going to look like? The company sued Wells Fargo Trust Company and Citizens Asset Finance in New York federal court, asking a judge to block the lenders from declaring the leases in default. The contracts require St. Louis-based Monsanto to maintain a credit rating of BBB or better. So what they're saying is Monsanto's credit's going down. Now think about the history, okay? The historical steps. When Bayer AG in Germany goes to buy out Monsanto, they've got huge legal people on both sides looking at this risk before the deal ever goes through. Because there's certain things that if not known, they could find the deal and default on the deal. Okay? So this is a huge, marker on a digital timeline of information flow based upon who's going long on which stocks, who's going short. Okay, so these are like flanking markers on a field of battle. How can we verify this data? Okay. Same thing out there in Las Vegas, and they're placing bets, and they're positioning markers, on the upcoming week's football games, or placing certain markers on, I don't know, Wheel of Fortune games. Same thing is happening right here. One thing I just want to, reinforce is how certain bias I have one. But how certain bias within the intelligence gathering community can be blinded on purpose. So we're right at 25 minutes here on the second one. And like I say, I will link to these two articles, the second segment. And just consider that. And consider the data behind this and the timing. Because whatever decisions you make, like, it doesn't matter if you're an hourly worker, salary, truck driver, these lessons or this awareness will help you actually make better decisions. So, this is the end of segment El Duce. Appreciate your thoughts. Any concerns? Hey, you want to make a little donation? You can do that too. I'll have a shorter segment for 3 coming up though. But appreciate you tuning in. Check you on the flip side. Thanks.